What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Best of the British Indies, and this is the first of my new wrestling review series. I wasn't really planning to do one now. I was initially planning for the first one to be a review of Pro Wrestling Subjective's return during September, but I was at Nothing But Wrestling last night, and there were a few things that I wanted to talk about, so I thought, well, basically, why not do a sort of a bonus one as the first one, basically. So, so first things first. Nothing But Wrestling is a brand new promotion run by my mate Corey Peter. He's also wrestles as Corey Johnson. That was their second show, I think. But they're based in Tipton. If you're in the West Midlands area, it's really easy to get to. So I would recommend check. I think their next show is on the 14th of September, I think. If you're in around that area at that point, then I would recommend checking them out, because he's a great guy and they are a great person, so I'll just, recommend checking them out. But on to the main thing. So, first thing we'll talk about, the Man Like Doris versus the Elliot Jordan Experience. This was my first time seeing the Man Like Doris. I've seen Elliot many times now, mainly at Pro Wrestling Subjective. He's not bald. He's streamlined as he keeps wanting people, keeps minding people. But he is bald. Okay, he is bald. His head is upside down. He's got a beard and no hair. But that was my first time seeing Man Like Doris. I was massively impressed. I thought the match itself flowed really, really well. The crowd are getting into it. The crowd I will talk about, but I'll talk about that more towards the end of this thing. I thought that the ring psychology they shared and the chemistry was impeccable, to be honest. I thought that it didn't look like anyway that they put a foot wrong. It ended very, I won't say confusingly, I can't say confusingly actually, it ended very convincingly, with the Elliot Jordan, with the sort of DDT jump, I'm not sure what you call it, sort of jumping DDT essentially, the thing that Bobby Roode does basically. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? I don't know what it's called, but anyway. So the match was won by the Elliot Jordan Experience. Then there was interference from, not of interference, but sort of, someone called Marshall X came down as Elliot Jordan was, in his own words, having a respectful exchange with the Man Like Doris, and what that means is he was basically stamping on him. So that's, respectful, but Marshall X came down, interfered at that point, fought off the Elliot Jordan Experience, and that set up that match for September. So that will be Marshall X versus the Elliot Jordan Experience. I'm not sure what the Man Like Doris will be doing in September show. In September show. Sorry. I'll keep you updated as I find that out. But so that was it for the first match. Marshall X storming down to the ring, fighting off the Elliot Jordan Experience, instead of setting up that match for September the 14th in the, again, same place for the Tipton. The Usual Suspects versus the Hot Tag. Now, the Usual Suspects are a team made up of Corey Johnson. I'm never going to get that. I'm sorry, Corey. Corey Johnson and the party pooper, I believe he's going by now, Nathan Lewis. That was originally meant to be just a regular tag team match between the Hot Tag and the Usual Suspects, but it was turned into a Falls Count Anyway match after Corey basically said to the announcer, I want a Falls Count Anyway match, and then the crowd went, yes please, so that turned into a Falls Count Anyway match. That was an absolutely brutal match. As you can probably take a guess by now, it didn't stay in the ring for very long at all. I'd say it was in the ring for all of 10 seconds, then they all started to spill out to the outside, so there were a lot of chair shots in that match, I'll say that. It was absolutely brutal. It did essentially turn into a bit of a 2-on-1 handicap match, as I think it was Corey Johnson, sorry. I'm never going to get that right. As Corey Johnson was taken to the outside where he stayed for a few minutes. So it essentially turned into a 2-on-1 handicap match, with the Hot Tag 2-on-up against Nathan Lewis after his partner Corey Johnson was taken out. Corey Johnson did then come back into the ring, and I think it was at that point that he proceeded to use a child as a battering ram, which was quite hilarious to watch. I mean, the child, he didn't literally throw the child at the person. He just sort of picked up with this and kicked and used the kid's feet to kick the other guy. So he didn't literally throw a child. That wouldn't have happened. Yeah, so he used a child as a bit of a weapon, really. Of course, this is for what's called anywhere, so basically no DQ, hence all the chair shots as well. The match was, unfortunately, won by the hot tag, and then this brings me on to my next topic of the usual suspects. The man who took the pin was Nathan Lewis, and this sort of prompted a bit of a, I'm not sure what it was. Basically, Nathan went on to say, I'm sorry for letting you down, Corey. I'm sorry for letting the MEW crowd down. And then he proceeded to then say, it's been a pleasure to, or again, I'm paraphrasing here, this one exactly what he said. It's been a pleasure to tag with you for the 2 years that we've been tagging. I think we should go separate ways. So it looks like usual suspects are no more, essentially. I think they will still be competing in their own things, but for what it looks like, and to the disappointment of many people, including myself, the usual suspects have officially disbanded. Third topic I want to talk about, that's me, is Chantal Jordan. Now, she's someone that she made her in-ring debut at Kamikaze Pro last month, I think it was. Yeah, it's only 10 days, but yeah. So last month she made her in-ring debut at Kamikaze Pro, where she took on and defeated Dave Preston or something like that, and then again in the rematch she beat him again, so she's now 2-0 at Kamikaze Pro. This is her not new breed wrestling, sorry, I'm still in the line mode. This was her nothing but wrestling debut, I'll say, where she made a triple threat match, a fatal 4-way against, I think it was Sean the Lad Divine, Luke Casimir or something like that, and an Italian person who I actually can't remember that match into a fatal 4-way, and God, fucking kicks, man. It generally looks like she could take your head off it. It's pretty scary. So yeah, she didn't interfere. Sorry, she made that match a fatal 4-way. I'm going to refer to him as the heel instead of the Italian guy, because that sounds much better. The heel for that match. You know what? I'm going to just quickly look this up, because I know it's on their Facebook page. Let's see. I probably should look this up in advance, so like, you know, I'm not going to cut this out. You can live through my mistakes with me. Alright, let's see this. Alright. Let's see. Filthy Johnny T. Okay, so it was the lad. The lad. Sorry, Sean Devine, not Sean Devine, not Sean Devine. Sorry, so the lad Sean Devine versus Luke Casimir, as I thought, and Filthy Johnny T. So sorry about that. Sorry about that, Filthy Johnny T, for forgetting your name there. It might not have been Italian now that I'm thinking about it. I just remember someone saying puta, which I think is an Italian swear, but I'm not quite sure. So that just sort of made me assume that he was Italian. Anyway, it might not be. So yeah, it was So yeah, it started out Filthy Johnny T. Basically, Sean Devine and Luke Casimir sort of quickly grouped up to take on Filthy Johnny T. As I said, Chantal, Sean, and Luke were all the baby faces for that match. Well, Chantal was more of a just doing what she wanted to be. She wanted to be a face or a heel. The crowd were cheering her. So, so them three, them three sort of cornered into Filthy Johnny T, and then Chantal sort of pushed aside Sean Devine and Luke Casimir to essentially give herself a bit of a face-off with Filthy Johnny T. She started kicking everyone at that point, basically. It literally just started kicking people. She was unfortunately quickly disposed of. She was taken out and put outside the, I'll say that. No, sorry, the action spilled out to the ring when she went out to the ring. She was then locked in a bit of a engage with Filthy Johnny T, who she went for a chop. Fortunately, Johnny T ducked and she smashed her forearm off the ring post, which kept her out of the match for a couple of minutes. So for that time, it was a triple threat match. And after that, she was never really able to really gather that much. I mean, she did get momentum going, but whenever she really got onto a roll, she would always be shut down very quickly and very effectively, I must say as well, by Filthy Johnny T. It got much easier when the first one was limited. I think that was who was eliminated. I think it was Filthy Johnny T who was no, it was Luke Cashmere who was eliminated first, and then it did turn into a triple threat match after that. And after that, yeah, that is when things started getting a bit more even, so Chantal was in the match. I mean, I'm talking about Chantal a lot because that was, for me anyway, the main point of that match was Chantal Jordan's Nothing But Wrestling debut. That's why I'm talking more about her in this match. It did turn into a triple threat match after the first elimination with Luke Cashmere was gone. Although Filthy Johnny T was still doing everything he could to keep Chantal out of the match. I mean, smart move, because if she kicks you, she'll knock your lights out. So it's a smart move on his behalf. Fortunately, Sean Devine, did eliminate Filthy Johnny T. That was the second elimination. So trying to get into a just a singles one-on-one match at that point. So that was then Chantal Jordan one-on-one with the lad Sean Devine, and oh god, I forgot to mention before that she went on a bit of a rampage and decided it was a Filthy Johnny T who she just started throwing around with German suplexes. It was absolutely hilarious. This is a 14-year-old girl tossing a grown man around the ring. I mean, I'm sure you can picture that now. It was absolutely brilliant to watch. The last two competitors were Chantal Jordan and the lad Sean Devine. She very quickly took control of that and made him tap out with a very effective sleeper hold to pick up a very impressive win. Again, which wasn't... it's the thing is, she looked, I think, from the looks of it, she does her best work in short bursts. She wasn't in the match... Well, okay, she was a competitor in the match, obviously, but she wasn't in the thick of the action throughout the entire thing. She more had sort of sprees where she would go on and kick out everyone, and then she would get taken out again for a couple of minutes. So I think that match was essentially more of a coming in and making an impact, as opposed to just being a constant workhorse throughout the entire match, basically. And it worked very well, to be fair. She looked brilliant in that match. She looked very dangerous. I did meet her after that, and we did speak a bit about the... because, again, I am interviewing her on the 18th of this month. That'll be Kamikaze Pro next week. So we did speak a bit about that. I'm very much looking forward to that now. I've got a lot more questions on my mind now after seeing her in the ring for the first time, because had she not been at this show, then I would have gone into the interview with her having never seen her before, which wouldn't have been great for me, as I like to at least see the people I'm interviewing wrestle once. I mean, whether it's in person or online, I always like to have that essentially safety net so that I can talk about what I think of their wrestling. I mean, I've never had to do that so far, but I do like to go into an interview having seen them compete first, so that I know what I'm dealing with here. And she massively impressed me. In fact, she was brilliant in the match. She's 14, for God's sake. I mean, that's I'm 21 and she's 14. There's a 7-year gap between them. I mean, she's 14, already accomplished more than I ever have, probably ever will, essentially. So yeah, 7 years younger and already doing much better than I am. So that should tell you all you need. I'm not sure if that says it. That might say more about me than it does about her, actually, but there you go, yeah. So 14 years old, 3 matches into her career, a 2-0 streak having gone to pro, and a 3-0 streak in overall, sorry. a very convincing win in the Fatal 4-Way match. And I can assure you, if you do go, that will not be the last. That will not be the last time she'll be there. So, if you are at, again, I don't. They've not released the card for that match yet. But if you are at the September show next month, I think it's pretty certain that she'll be there. And trust me, you are not going to want to miss that. She is incredibly fluent in all movements in the ring. It's absolutely brilliant to watch. The main event, Niwa versus Liam Roberts, who I've now. Niwa, this is my first time seeing him. Actually, I'm not going to say anything else about that because that's not been announced yet, and I don't want to spoil it. Yeah, this is my first time seeing Niwa, and I was massive. I mean, okay, I'd not even heard of him before this. I mean, the name. Well, I say that. I mean, I'd seen a photo that I think he debuted at Fight Club Pro. I think before this. But I wasn't there for that, so for me anyway, this was my first time seeing Niwa in action, and just seeing him in general. I'd never seen him before, so I was going into this completely unbiased. I know, as I was saying before, Chantal, I know that before I said I was really looking forward to seeing her, but bear in mind, I'd not seen her before that, and I'd not seen any footage online, so I was going into that unbiased towards or against her. I was going complete neutral, so that's how, yeah, instant impression there. But anyway, that's gone off topic. Back to Niwa and Liam Roberts. Niwa, this is my first time seeing him. Instant impression. Again, I was going in there unbiased. I'd never seen him before, so I had no biased feelings towards or against him. He did massively impress me in that match. Well, to be fair, they both did. Liam Roberts, who I've seen twice before now at Coventry Pro Wrestling in Coventry. He wrestles there as Will Starr. And he actually, I think it was the 20th of last month, this is at a Pro Wrestling Cartel event in Birmingham. They were doing a sort of CPW workshop thing there, where basically a few of the guys from the CPW would go down to Pro Wrestling Cartel to have a sort of a crash course thing, where they would show you the safe way to take bumps and to take moves, etc. And he taught me. Well, when I say he, I'm talking about Liam Roberts / Will Starr. In case I get confused there. He taught me how to take a front bump, a back bump, and how to properly take a choke slam. Because of course I'm not a professional wrestler, so I've never done any of those before. And choke slam, I botched them. I botched 2 and took 2 successfully. So his trainer did help me a lot. But anyway, that's not the point. Yeah, so Liam Roberts I've seen quite a few times, well, 3 times now, Charles Fogg at a commentary, and he really, I mean, every time I see Liam / Will, he just continues to impress me. His fluency in the ring and the way he transitions from one move to another is pretty much flawless. Well, I say pretty much, it is what I mean. Okay, I'm not a wrestling analyst, I'm more of I give my thoughts on how I think things went, but I don't review them right down to the moves because I don't know that side of it. But from what I was seeing anyway, the match flowed really well. There was no awkward bits where you sort of thought, was that supposed to happen, was it not supposed to happen? The match flowed really well. The crowd really enjoyed it, and the crowd, again, I will get into after this. The crowd were... Sorry, not the crowd. That was the main event of the night, and it did live up to that main event status. Liam Roberts, I think he won... Again, this is annoying because I didn't go to the first MBW show, so I know that Liam Roberts won a tournament, and he came down to the ring holding a trophy, so he did win something, but I can't remember what the trophy was for. I'm really sorry, I can't remember what that trophy was for. You have to go to the Nothing But Wrestling Facebook page to find that out, because I actually can't remember at all. But the overall match itself was really, really good. It was won by Liam Roberts, and for that match I was completely torn. I was bordering more on Liam's side of the things because I'd seen him twice before, so I knew what to expect and I knew how good he was. But of course, Niwa did make a very good impression on me, so I was going into that match with essentially as a neutral, with a bit of bias maybe towards Liam, but I was trying to just not cheer. I mean, I know that doesn't sound very good to go to a show and not cheer, but for me, that's what I thought would be best, because I didn't want Niwa to lose, but I also wanted Will to win, which was a bit of a... I know that doesn't make much sense. it's just, again, it's a case of me seeing Liam a couple of times before that and not seeing Niwa before. But again, I was so impressed by Niwa that I didn't want him to lose. So for that match, I just thought, I won't cheer. I'll just be down the middle. If Liam pulls off a good match, I'll obviously give it a bit of applaud. If Niwa does the same, then again, I'll give it an applaud. But for the most part, I was trying to be as down the middle as I possibly could. I was happy when Liam did win that, and I was happy when he won that. As I said, I'm a big fan of his. But, I mean, if Niwa didn't lose, so to speak, I mean, yes, he took the pin, but he didn't, I mean, he got a massively good ovation from the crowd. So he did not in any way come out as a loser in that match. I don't think he came out a winner, essentially. He won over the crowd, he won over me, and I'm sure, I hope, that's not the last we'll see of Niwa in Nothing But Wrestling. That was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the chemistry they shared, I don't know if they faced each other before. It looks like they faced each other a million times in the past, because they seem to know what they're going to do before they were doing it, if that makes sense. The chemistry of that match flowed brilliantly. The crowd were really into it. The crowd was really into it. Sorry. The chemistry flowed brilliantly. The transition between the moves were absolutely flawless, and all around that was an absolutely fantastic match. Now the crowd is the last thing that I want to come to, because I've been attending. The first ever wrestling event was an NXT show in 2014. I don't really, not sure I count that anyway. My first independent show was a Southside Wrestling Entertainment show. That was a Queen of the Ring thing. That was in Sheffield. That was on the October. I think it was the 2nd October, but I can't remember, because again, that was 2 years ago now. A year and a bit ago now. Sorry. So I've been attending shows since late 2016, and obviously some crowds are going to be more into it than others. I can say that Fight Club Pro so far has been, my experience in that, the crowd has been the loudest I've been there to witness. I mean, they get into that so much. I mean, that's what you want, really. You want the crowd to get into it. But I've also been to quite a few shows where I'm not going to name the promotions, mainly because it's not the promotion as a whole. It's just it was that one-off show where the crowd wasn't massively into it. But I can think of a few crowds off the top of my head. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to. I'm not putting that promotion to shame, but I'm putting the crowd to shame, and I don't want to do that. But there have been a few crowds where they've just not been as into it, and I say that some were a bit, well, not really quiet. We're just sort of applauding good, giving a round of applause to good moves and wrestlers, but not really doing much else than that. And some crowds I've been to were absolutely dead, and it was honestly quite upsetting to see, actually, because I mean I'm a really passionate fan, and when I go to events, I think if you're going to pay for tickets, then get involved, for God's sake. Don't just sit there like a lemon and just think should I be cheering? Cheer, for God's sake. If you want to cheer, then cheer. That's what they want. They want audience interaction. But anyway, go on tangent there. The crowd. I mean, I'm going to say now, top 3 crowds that I have been a part of in my time. My nose is really itchy now. Sorry. Top 3 crowds I've been a part of in my time attending independent shows. Sorry, Fight Club Pro definitely up as number 1. Commentary Pro Wrestling, that really surprised me, because I mean they don't do like merely enormous venues, but the crowds are massive. I mean the crowds are, well, they're not like enormous, but I mean there's a fair few people who turn about and they make a lot of noise, and I absolutely love being a part of those crowds. But the Nothing But Wrestling crowd last night was absolutely brilliant. I mean, there were unfortunately some empty seats. I think all the seats had been reserved, so they'd all been paid for, but just people just hadn't turned up for some reason. But I say that, of course, it looked like there were maybe 1 or 2 people that didn't turn up. Most of them, the crowd. I mean, the venue was absolutely packed, and the crowd would really get into it. And that's what I liked about it, because again, I've been to so many shows where the crowd just don't think they're allowed to get involved in the match, and you are, for God's sake. If you pay for tickets, I pay for tickets, so I get involved in the match. Well, not in the. I get involved, I cheer, I boo, I applaud, that sort of thing. If you're buying tickets, then get involved. Yeah, the crowd, I mean, it's always... So, I was chatting to Corey Johnson. I'm going to try and say that. Corey Johnson. I was chatting to Corey before, well, about maybe a week or two before the show, and he said that, and he sent me a message saying that unfortunately he can't give out free tickets because they're not selling brilliantly. So which I said I don't expect free tickets. I'll buy them anyway. But when he said that they've not sold out brilliantly, I was going into that thinking, oh god, is it going to be like really? Is this going to be a really, really quiet show? There's going to be maybe a row of people, and that'll be it. And so I was so happy to see. I've been to quite a mix of shows where before you get there before the doors open, and there's either no one there because they all get there after the doors open, or they're either flooded, and this is absolutely flooded. Like you couldn't move around in the foyer area because before the doors were opened. There were that many people, and it did make me really happy to see that so many people had turned up for this local show in Tipton. I mean, local. Well, it saved me about an hour and a half away, but the crowd, I loved being a part of that crowd. It was really, really fun. They came up with some amazing chants. Well, it was absolutely. I think they were. Let's see. I think some of the things I chanted were like, let's see, Chantal's gonna kill you. She pretty much did. She murdered her. She murdered every one of her opponents. And then I think it was when Filthy Johnny T went to enter the ring and he tripped over on the rope. There was a massive chant of "You fell over," and again, just things like that. It's so much fun to be involved in. That's been anyway. Yeah, that's my review. Well, yeah, that's my review and summary of Nothing But Wrestling in Our House. They've got their next show on the 14th of September. I'm going to try to be there, but I can't make guarantees because I'm going to be at, well, hopefully anyway, I'm going to be at Wolf Run Pro Wrestling on the 8th of September and Pro Wrestling Subjective on the 16th, which will be 2 days after MBW. So I will try to be at Nothing But Wrestling, but again, because it's in Tipton, which isn't easy for me to get to and impossible for me to get back without a lift from my dad, basically, because I'm not driving yet. Basically, if I can't get a lift back, then I can't go there at all. So I will try, but can't make guarantees. But if you're free on the 14th of September and within the sort of Wolverhampton, Tipton area, I mean, even within the West Midlands area, to be honest, if you're within that sort of region and you're free on that day in the evening, late afternoon to evening, then I would definitely recommend you go down. You will not regret it. I can assure you of that now. It was absolutely fantastic to be involved in, and I will hopefully be going back there on the. I will hopefully see you there on the 14th, but if not, then I will be seeing you on the 8th of September at Wolf. No, not 8th of September. I'll be seeing you at Kamikaze Pro when I interview Chantal Jordan. I'm her first interview, so I'm looking forward to that a lot. I'll be seeing you on the 18th at Kamikaze Pro on the 18th of August. That is not September. I'll be seeing you 18th of August at Kamikaze Pro. I'll be interviewing Chantal Jordan, and that one, I don't know when that'll be up, to be honest. It depends how long it is. It depends. It depends on a lot of things, basically. But I'll try and get it up within 2 weeks of it being filmed, basically. So it'll hopefully be up before the end of the month. Well, it has to be because I'm hopefully doing 2 interviews in September, so I wouldn't really have time to upload 3 interviews as well as wrestling reviews for Wolfen and Pro Wrestling Subjective. So yeah, that was pretty much just what I was saying. Really, yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts on Nothing But Wrestling on their debut show. I thought it went really well. I was really happy to be involved in that. Massive well done to everyone involved in that, especially Corey Johnson for putting the entire thing together. I've got your name on this time, but yeah, so that was massive congratulations. It was a massive thing you pulled off, and I'm really happy that it worked out for you. So yeah, I'll see you on the 18th, and peace.